Hello people, welcome to EduRev. So today we learn something which is very interesting and is used in our daily lives. We many a times encounter such situations where we have to do fast calculations. In competitive exams also we are required to do many problems in short amount of time. So to save time in calculations and in more number of questions, we apply some tricks which are derived from Vedic Mathematics. So today we'll go through such tricks to make our calculations faster. So without wasting our time, let's start. Alright, so let's find out the square of a number. Let's suppose you need an answer for like 99 whole square. For this there are a few steps, so let's go step by step and find out the square of 99. Now the first step is that we need to find a base that is closer to the number which is in question. Here the number which is in question is 99. So the base that is closest to it is nothing but 100. Step 2 is that we need to calculate the difference of the number from its base, which is to say that we have to subtract both of them. That is 99 minus 100 is going to be what? Negative of 1. Now what I need to do is we have to add the numbers, that is the one which we found out after the difference and the initial number which was in question. That is, I have to add this number minus 1 with what? 99. So I have to add 99 and minus 1. So it has to be 99 plus minus 1, which is going to be what? Which is going to be nothing but 98. Now the next step is that we need to multiply the result which we have just got with the base. That is, I have to multiply this number, that is 98, with the base. So it has to be 98 into 100. So this will be what? This will be 9800. And lastly, the last step is that we need to add the product of square of the differences with the result in the previous step to get the final answer. That is, we have to add 9800 to square of the difference, that is this. So it's going to be what? It's going to be 9801. Right. So I hope you understood this. Now let's take one more example to understand it completely. Okay. So let's take a number that is 47 and let's see how to do it. So we need to find out the square of 47. So it's going to be what? Firstly, we need to find a base that is closest to it, which is 50. Then we need to subtract both of these. That is 47 minus 50 is going to be what? It's going to be negative of 3. Then I have to add this negative of 3 to the number. That is 47 plus minus 3. This is going to be what? This is going to be 44. Now I need to multiply this 44 with what? The base, which is going to be what? 50. So 44 into 50 is going to be what? Let's do it. 22. So it's going to be what? 2200. So 44 into 50 is going to be this. Now we need to add 2200 to what? The square of the difference, that is minus 3. So last is going to be what? 2209. So I hope you people understood this. Now let's move on to the next concept. Alright, so let's find out how to actually get the square of two-digit number that ends with 5. Now students, can you tell me the square of 35 in just like about 5 seconds? I bet you can know. So let's learn the trick so you can easily calculate the square of any number ending with 5. Now this tip is among the top math tricks every student must know. Let's take an example. Imagine you need to find the answer to 25 square. So this is going to be what? 25 into 25. Right. So for this, these are the steps. So 25 into 25 whenever I'm doing, the last number has to be what? 25 itself. Okay. Now the answer will always end with 25. Now the second step is that you need to multiply the first digit of the two numbers with the first digit of the second number, but adding 1 in that to find the term for the thing that is left, that is this blank portion. Now let me tell you how to do it. So you are going to take the first digit, that is 2 from here. You are also going to take this first digit. But before taking this number, you need to add 1 digit. So it will be what? 3. Now you need to multiply 2 into 3 and this will become what? 6. And then you need to keep your 6 here. So the number is going to be what? 625. So this is basically how you multiply 25 into 25, or basically finding the square of 2-digit numbers that end with 5. Let's take one more example, that is 30. So for 35, what you need to do is 35 into 25. So the last digit has to be what? 25. We all know that. We just have to fill the first portion. So what I need to do is 3 and then add 1 to it, that is 4. Now multiplying 3 by 4 is going to give me what? 12. And this 12 has to go here. So it will be what? 1, 2, 2, 5. So this is the number that is going to come when we multiply 35 into 25, or that is, which is to say that we want to find out the square of 35 when the number is actually ending with what? 5. I hope you understood this. So now let's move on to the next concept. Alright, so let's see how we can find the square root of any number. Now before performing square root, we will have to keep some facts in our mind. So let me tell you these facts, just note it down somewhere. Fact number 1 is that square of number from 1 to 9 has to be what? 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, 49, 64 and lastly 81. So these are going to be what? Square root of all the numbers which are present between 1 and 9. Now square of a number cannot end with what? It cannot end with 2, 3, 7 and 8. As you can see here as well, that the square of all the numbers between 1 and 9 do not end with 2, 3, 7 and 8. So keep this also in your mind. Now we can say that the numbers ending with 2, 3, 7 and 8 cannot have a perfect square root, right? Correct. The next is that the square root of the number ending with 1 ends with either 1 or 9. Alright, like for example 1 and 81. So it has to be what? Either 1 or 9. Correct? Next is the square root of number ending with 4, that is either 4 or 64. That ends with either what? 2 or 8. The square root of a number ending with 9 ends with either what? 3 or 7. That is 9 or 49 has to be what? 3 or 7. Next is the square root of the number ending with 6, that is either 16 or 36. I think you people can guess this now, that it's going to be what? 4 and 6. And lastly, the last rule is that if the number is of n digits, then the square root will be what? N by 2 or n plus 1 by 2 digits. That is, suppose the square root is of 4 digits. So the number suppose the square is of 4 digits. So the square root of that 4-digit number is going to be what? Half of it. That is 2. So I hope you understood these rules. Now let's take up one example and solve it on our own. So now let's understand an example of finding the square root of a number, let's say 1764, right? Now the number ends with what? The number ends with 4. Since it's a perfect square root will end with what? Either 2 or 8. We need to find two perfect squares in multiples of 10 that is between the number, between which the number 1764 exists. So it's going to be what? Either it's going to be 1600 or 2500. So between 1600 and 2500 will this number, that is 1764, occurs. Alright. Now the point is, 16 is like the square of 40 and 2500 is of what? 50. Now we need to find to whom 1764 is closer. It is obviously closer to 40 because it's actually closer to what? 1600. Therefore the square root has to be nearer to 40. Now because we know that that number needs to end with either 2 or 8, and we also know that that number needs to be nearer to 40 and between 40 and 50. So the number out of 42 and 48 is going to be what? 42. Why? because we know that square root has to be between 40 and 50 and it has to be ending by 2 or 8. So it has to be either 42 or 48. But we know that it needs to be closer to 40. So we will take 42 as the answer. Let's take one more example, and that example has to be what? 1444. Alright. Now, because it's ending with 4, then the square root should end with either 2 or 8. We all know this, right? So it should either end with 2 or 8. Now 1400 is between what? 900 and 1600. We all agree to it, but it's closer towards 1600. So this has to be 30 or 40. Now the square root needs to be between 30 or 40. That is either it's going to be 32 or 34. But because 1444 is closer to 1600, so the root has to be nearer to what? 40. So between 32 and 38, the number that is nearer to 40 is 38. I hope you people understood this. Now let's go and solve another group. Alright, now let's see how we can find the cube root of a number. So to find the cube root, we need to find the unit place of the cube root. So for that, we always need to remember a few points. I'm going to tell you these few points, just note it down somewhere because these will be very, very handy when you are going to find the cube root of any number. Now the first point is that if the last digit of the cube root is 8, then the unit digit is going to be 2. Similarly, if the last digit of the cube root is 2, then the unit digit is going to be 8. And if the last digit of the cube root is 3, then the unit digit is going to be what? 7. Similarly, if it's 7, then it's going to be 3. And if the last digit is 4, then the unit digit is also going to be 4. Now, if the last digit of the cube root is anything which is other than 2, 3, 7, 8, 4, then we need to put the same number as the unit digit, like as I've told you of 4. So anything other than 2, 3, 7 and 8, that is 4, we basically need to write the same number again. So now let's see and let's find out the cube root of a number 39304. Now, the point is that the last digit is 4. So therefore, the unit digit is going to be what? 4. Now, we need to strike off the last 3 digits of the given number. That is this. And it came out to be what? 39. Now, we know that a cube that is nearer to 39 is what? 27. Correct? Any cube that is nearer to 39 is what? 27. That is 3 cube is what? 27. Therefore, we have to write 3 at what? Tens place and 4 at the units place. So the answer is going to be what? 34. Let's take another example to understand it in a much better way. So now the other example is 238328. Alright. Now the last digit is what? 2, and according to the rules which I told you, because of this 8, the unit place has to be what? 2. Correct. Now we need to strike off the last 3 digits. So the last 3 digits are striked off. So it is 238 that is left. Now any cube that is nearer to 238 is going to be what? 216. And 216 is the cube root of what? 6. So at tens place the number 6 is going to come, whereas at units place the number 2 is going to come. So the number is going to be what? 62. So 62's cube is what? This number, that is 2,38,328. I hope you understood this. You can unlock all the other content that is provided on EduRev with EduRev Infinity Plan and ace your exams at less than 80 rupees per month.